Oh, I like that. That's fun.
Do you like that?
Oh, it's a new piece of music.
Yeah.
Hi, everybody. You're listening and watching Mary Kennedy of the Menopod video podcast with Sue Merlino. And in studio...
This is Lisa Jo LaMere. She's a friend of mine from Burbank.
Woo!
Yay. But she's not really from Burbank.
Where's she from?
Where are you from, Lisa?
Well, I'm from Minnesota. Don't you know?
And now she's in Southern California.
Yeah, we met just down the street.
And so today we are talking about, Miss Sue, what are we talking about today?
Well, Lisa is in training to be a mindfulness coach. And I know there's been a lot of chit-chat on our page about people having trouble really finding that peace during the day and just finding that time and just being able to connect. And so I thought, hey, let's bring Lisa on board here and maybe she can give us some life hacks, so to speak, and help us figure all that out.
So what's the difference between meditation and mindfulness?
Well, it's interesting because I was just teaching. I'm a teacher, high school teacher.
Okay.
And I was working with my adult friends at school. And there was some skepticism about mindfulness because it talks about, they thought that I wanted them to empty their mind.
Right.
And they're religious. And so like,
that was
really
a little
feel
scary.
Comfortable with that. But it's not about emptying the mind. It's about being present with your mind and body. So meditation, if you're going into the Buddhist meditation, it's more about kind of emptying the mind so you can transcend and be, in a different, higher level of consciousness.
Right.
And mindfulness is just being present.
So you're just being present in the sort of 24-hour-a-day cycle.
Is that the goal? Is the goal to just be present in every moment that you're alive, that you're breathing, and never, like, what does that mean? Does that mean, like, I don't ever think of what I'm going to be doing tomorrow or what I've done in the past? Like, what exactly does that being present mean?
Not necessarily. So it's like when you're taking your moments of mindfulness, that's when you want to be present with your breath, your body, your sense of sound, and kind of anchor in. But it doesn't mean that you're not having a daily life and you're not, moving into a direction and towards your goals or any of that. It's more just about taking that downtime to kind of regenerate and connect. Yeah.
Right. Because I think, when we talk about this on the page, Midlife Mood Swing, and you guys should join that, of course. And then also the Menopod video podcast, where you can watch these wonderful podcasts that we do. I think especially women that are going through menopause or perimenopausal or even postmenopausal, I almost feel like I'm in brain fog. And so how can we be present in the moment if we don't know where we've left our keys for the day? Like, it's really hard. And then we're always, I don't know, we talk about this a lot on the show, like mind mice. Mm-hmm. Like, I feel like there's so much traffic going on in my head that how can I be present?
It's a practice. So you just, need to practice every day. And the more that you do it, if you start your day with, 20 minutes or even just start with one mindful moment.
Okay.
And just continue to do that and build your practice. Then you're able to tap into it. So if you're having chaos and a bunch of monkey mind going on, you're able to tap into that mindfulness, settle into your anchors, and then become present. So then you can kind of anchors you downward and you can kind of be. But if you're always in the monkey mind and you're always not quite there and you're coming and you're going, then it just makes it worse. It makes that chaos more present.
So is the mindful piece of it actually when you're going through, when you're having some sort of stressful moment and have that monkey brain, and then being conscious of that happening and then taking the time to just stop? Is that the mindful piece? Mm-hmm. Just recognizing that, oh my gosh, I'm I got to stop.
Exactly. So yeah.
So that's being mindful. All right.
Yeah.
So Sue's being mindful right now.
She is. She's definitely mindful.
We're on the Menopod. This is where we are. There's no place to go. I'm drinking tea. If you can hear my voice, I'm getting over bronchitis. And I was very mindful. You know where we find that we're mindful? I actually experienced this recently. When we're sick.
Right.
We can't, when you're sick, I find mindfulness in two places. When we're sick, we know we're sick. We're like, I'm sick.
I kind of feel like that's a message from the universe saying, stop what you're doing and take care of yourself. And I think I said those words to you.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah.
Of course.
I'm the universe.
You know, like a crazy person. And the second time that I feel really mindful is when I'm exercising.
Because you're you're in that trance, right?
Mm-hmm. And you're with your body, your physical body. So you're concentrating on what your body is doing. And you're in that moment. And you're breathing. So you're also paying attention to like your breath, because you're like, you know, you can see what your workout is by how hard you're breathing. So those are some of the anchors of mindfulness, just your breath, your physical body.
Well, when they put me on an incline that's 5 inches, like, then I better be mindful I'm going to fall on my face.
I get it. All right. So it's kind of your mind understanding your body in the moment, but doing that outside of exercise.
And outside of being sick.
And outside being sick.
Not being mindful, I think we end up as women getting sick. I mean, I wonder... Here's something, and not to like sort of bring a dark cloud, but I know people that are going through chemo right now. And when they're in the chemo room and they are going through the chemo, they either put themselves into meditation or they're just mindful and they're in that moment. And they kind of have to be, because they're sitting in a chair for 8 hours.
Wow.
And so, and that's not a great place to be present. I mean, I totally want to run from that. But what helps them is to sort of go, like I posted on the Midlife Mood Swing, do you run away from grief or do you confront it? And so I find when people confront and are in it and being mindful about it, I think it's almost better than running away from it.
I agree, because they're being present in where they're at that moment. And if you're running from it and you're not present with your grief or your illness and you're constantly trying to escape it, it's going to create more anxiety. But if you're present with it and you're taking a moment to breathe into it, lean into it, and the acceptance starts to be there into your reality, you're right. There's like a little bit of peace that kind of intersects that grief or that.
Or the pain or the illness.
So can you talk to us a little bit about your practice and I mean, you don't have to personally, or like a practice that somebody might do during the day, like how to get started. Because for me, it's like I have the greatest intentions and I write them down. I wake up like, oh, my intention for today is, but that's as far as it goes, because then life happens and I get in the same routine. So can you kind of talk to us a little bit about like how to break maybe a routine and start maybe something new? Like how would you do that?
Sure. So, I suggest like just starting out your day by, putting your feet on the floor and moving forward, and just straight to a place that's not where you normally would sit to have your coffee, or you would normally go. Set out a special place just to have your mindful moment, and don't try to do 20 minutes at once. Just do one minute. So like I like to sit out my pillow right by my pool, sit outside.
Nice.
Get nice and comfortable. Yeah. I have a special pillow I'll sit with. And then just settle in, and I take a couple of deep breaths, and then I feel my body, how it feels at that moment. And then I close my eyes, and I just am present, and then I start, focusing in on what I'm hearing in the surrounding sounds. Sometimes I can even hear the freeway, and I hear like dogs or whatever, and just kind of accepting what sounds I'm hearing, what I'm feeling in my body. And then if I start to get too lost, I try to be playful with those thoughts and those sounds. Right. But then just coming back to the breath, like, okay, not getting too, if I start to judge or try to like go forward, or I just go back to my breath so that it kind of anchors me. And then just a moment, and then just starting that ritual, and then putting my pillow away, cleaning up, and then going on, to the coffee, of course.
Right. Yeah. And that's the next step.
Well,
really important.
Nice. I like that image.
Well, and we talked about in another episode, like I try to say a prayer in my head every morning as I'm still laying in bed. Mm-hmm. But I don't find that I go from the bed to a mindful place. I get into my life.
As soon as your feet hit the floor.
As soon as my feet hit the floor, I'm in my life.
So maybe there's another time during the day, like, because you're on as soon as you get up, right? You have 2 kids that you get up and go to school, or do you have time to yourself?
As of late, because I've been having bronchitis, which thank God I'm recovering from. My husband's been taking the kids to school.
Oh, okay.
But
self-helpers.
Yeah.
little helpers. But yeah, no, I'm like right in it. You know what? A big mistake that I do, and we've talked about this, is my phone is right by my bed
Oh.
because I use it as my alarm clock.
Mm-hmm.
But I find that people are like texting me like early in the morning, and then I look at the text and it's a work thing, so I better do it. Or I hear the clink cling in my Facebook IM, and oh my gosh, I gotta work. And so I find like there isn't. So what I've been doing is I've been putting my phone in my office, which is next to my bedroom.
Oh, so you've done that. You moved it out of...
I moved it out, and then I have to physically get out of bed to get it. And that seems to be helping. I mean, it's just, I think we feel like we got to get everything done. And again, once again, reminded when I was sick that, like, I can't do everything. Mm-hmm. And
it's okay. Right?
It's okay. Yeah, no, it's okay. I mean, listen, and things, got moved out of the way, and, I actually took some sick time, so it all works. But I think being mindful is really important, especially, I don't know if this happens to you guys, and I think we're all of an age, either we're peri or meno. I don't think we're post yet. But I don't know about you, is I feel like when I'm in those hot flashes or I'm in the, like, stress of, in this menopause thing, like, I am not present. And I'm not mindful.
The thing with hot flashes that's interesting is with mindfulness, if you feel a hot flash coming on, instead of like trying to avoid it or run from it or whatever, just being with it, you'll go through it quicker. But the moment that you start to fan yourself and start to be aggravated and start to it can become bigger. And then it lasts longer, and because you start to your body starts to accelerate everything, your heart rate,
right. So if you it becomes a thing.
Here it is, and then really feel that heat, and that presence of because that's your hormones. And my friend she's like 10 years older than me, and she always says just embrace it and just love it, love it for what it is, love it when it's gone. She's like, you're going to miss those hormones. Like, she's like, when so if you're getting a hot flash, she's like, just embrace it, take it in. And I was like, that's so weird, but okay.
Yeah. Have you tried to do it?
I have, but I haven't had many. I don't know if it's because I just maybe have learned okay, when they're coming, just kind of breathe through it. There it is.
All right, I'm going to take that on.
And then exercise is a key thing.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Right?
I agree. 100%.
So you think the more you exercise or exercise going through it, it diminishes them, or just...
I think just exercising, just keeping that daily in your life is really important for the hot flashes. But I don't know. Have you ever had a hot flash while you're exercising? Or is it usually when you're just sitting?
When I'm sitting.
Yeah.
I feel better when I do yoga. I'm working with a trainer, and I'm doing a lot of treadmill work and sort of elliptical.
Interesting.
And I don't get a hot. I sweat and I'm hot, but I'm
right. It's
hot,
different.
Where everybody around me is freezing, and I'm like, oh my god, I feel like I'm 100. 101 over here. And that's, if I'm sick, that's one thing. But when I'm sick, that doesn't feel like a hot flash.
Right.
No, that's just
it's different.
Yeah. The hot flash is like this surge, and I go, oh my god, I'm having a hot flash.
Right. So you're super acknowledging. That's what I do too. I'm like, oh great, here we go. Yeah.
So it sounds like you have a presence going on with yours.
Oh yeah.
Here it is.
Yeah. I have a little conversation with it.
I remember I had the Orkin woman came to fight her bugs.
Yep.
And she took out a little fan and she was fanning herself, and she's like, I'm sorry, I'm having a private summer. And I thought that was so funny. I'm like, there you go.
Private summer.
I'm going to be in it. I'm going to relax a little bit, and then
It's a tropical island going on.
Yeah, exactly. Well, and it's interesting because I also posted on the Midlife Mood Swing, are you tropical island or cabin with snow? Are you tropical? And a lot of people pick tropical island, but if you think about it, that's hot and muggy,
right.
And we're running away from, being in that when we're having a hot flash, but it's different, I think.
Yeah, it's an internal thing. And for me, it's anxiety. I feel anxiety around it. So that's what I'm working on right now, which is a lot of fun.
Well, what's the anxiety around it?
I feel like I get panicky. I get a little panicky when it happens. I'm not doing the right thing, or I'm off. There's something wrong with what's going on with me right now. So when that happens, I'm starting now to just be a little more mindful, I guess, and just shutting that talk down.
Do you think you're dying? See, I'm afraid I'm dying.
Oh, no, I don't think I'm dying. No.
Oh my God, I'm dying.
We all are dying.
Yeah.
I'm dying right
No, I just kind of feel like I'm running into a brick wall. Like,
Okay.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So you feel a sense of like fatigue, and then you're like, wait a minute, am I ever going to be the same again?
Right,
Oh my God,
exactly.
old,
Yeah.
I'm aged.
I don't want
It's
this
all
to
over.
happen. Actually, it hasn't happened in a while either. But I've been taking those herbs that Jonathan sent.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And those Chinese herbs are just like kicking it in its butt. So,
Well, and being gluten-free, still gluten-free, everybody. I felt really, really, really good and haven't had the hot flashes.
yeah. So I think changing and being conscious and being mindful is just all works together.
Yeah, I think a lot, like, because our body chemistries, right? So even though, like, you're doing one thing and you're doing something else, and I'm
Right.
doing, like, it's because all of our body chemistries are different. So we
Yeah.
can't do the same thing. We can make recommendations to each other, which is great, but, like, our chemistry is so different.
So what made you decide to become mindful, I guess? I feel like as women, we have to make that decision. I'm going to become mindful.
I'm going to be
know.
a mindful coach.
Mindful. And I have to keep remembering, like, I'm going to be mindful because
Well, it's a
we're
journey,
so busy.
right?
We're
Yeah.
like, our lives are just busy. I always thought when my kids moved out, became an empty nester,
Right.
right? I wouldn't
Right.
be as busy, but, like, space gets filled and your mind gets filled of, still worrying about things and this and that. So I guess mindfulness, I teach high school. So
Yes, I get that.
it's a good thing I teach yoga. And,
Oh, okay.
working with that and just going into the second spring, I realized that I was forgetting a lot of things and, where did I put this? I lost this. And then I would worry and I'd have anxiety and then I'm like, wait a minute, there's got to be something that can help me out. Why don't I just take one breath at a time? Like,
Sounds
your
great.
yoga instructor says, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. So that brought me into it. And now I'm going through a training program. It's a year long and it's pretty cool.
Nice. Yeah, it sounds great.
So do you find that your high school students are mindful automatically? Like, I feel like there was a time, like, I've taught preschool to kindergarten, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I find that as much as they're all running around and everything, at least I feel like they're very mindful. Like, they know if they feel something that's sticky, they don't like that.
Yeah, they are very in the moment.
And I,
Yeah.
if I don't get that red crayon right now, we're in trouble.
Right.
So, but I just wonder, do you find that your high school students are mindful, or do you feel like they're in another, like they're all over the place now?
It depends. If they're stoned at school,
Oh, okay.
then that's a little bit different.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Or I think another thing is phones, like technology.
Right.
The phones are really difficult for them. Like, we have phone addictions.
Right.
Kids that just, like today I had to have a student, bring her phone down to the office and she started crying. She was really upset.
She couldn't get, yeah.
There was
It's
that
a-
anxiety.
Yeah.
What
That
am I going to do without
attachment.
my phone?
Yeah.
And I think that's really hard to be mindful when you're a phone. Like you were saying, when you wake up and everything's bing, 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 and
Yeah.
it's hard to just like wake up and put your feet on the floor because
Yeah. And then
thinking
the
about-
news alert, I'm like,
Yeah.
ding, ding. And it's like, wait, it's too much.
I don't need this first thing in the morning. Yeah.
No, I don't.
Yeah.
And it was
I do
kinda-
the same thing. Yeah.
Well, and what a relief when I was sick. I didn't have anything on. I shut it down, and it was kind of nice to be in the unknown,
Yeah.
to be sort of free falling and just whatever.
I totally get why people do that and go off the grid and
Yeah.
just kind of want to be quiet outside of their heads.
It's just interesting. Well, that makes me. It's interesting because I think, and maybe because we're doing so much with menopausal women right now and perimenopausal women, I feel like at one point we all were like these mindful creatures, and then life got in the way, and then hormones got in the way, and then relationships, and then the kid, like my kids, I love them. I mean, I'm not saying, but all that stuff kind of got in the way of what we're doing.
Yeah, it takes over those spaces.
It
Yeah.
takes over those, and it's interesting that you say when you became an empty nester that you felt like things were even more coming in.
Yeah, because it's when you become an empty nester, it's like you always can tend to fill empty space, right?
Yeah.
So I thought, oh, they're going to go away, but then they're away,
Yeah.
and so you're still connected,
Right.
More so than when we went away to college. Because when we went away to college, it was like there wasn't cell phones,
Nope.
right? There's no text coming in.
Nope.
No, so we just kind of lived our lives, and our parents lived their lives.
And I had a landline. Yes.
Yeah. And in the dorms, only a certain amount of calls went out, a certain amount came in. But now you're still so connected. So even though they're away,
they're still very close.
Them and I love them. We can still touch all the time and be like, oh, I needed to find a dermatologist. Where should I look? Da da da. And so then. Now they're further away, so instead of being able to have that contact, that physical contact, to be here, let's go do this, you have to fill the space with oh, I wonder, and then
right,
and then leave you with another text. Now I'm worried about so
it's always something,
it's been a real just okay, just one breath at a time, one.
But don't you feel in a weird way that
no control
over them?
Yeah, there's just you have to just give up control.
Right, totally. But you still have the worry.
Which is good.
Yeah. I mean, both my kids are through college, both live away, but they'll still call me at 11 o'clock at night when their car is locked into a parking lot and they can't get it out.
Well,
yeah. And I have to go to downtown LA and, get them. But yeah, there's always
you.
What?
Yeah.
Said, you're on your own, kid. No.
I don't know if it's control. I don't feel like I ever control.
No, but there's always a layer of concern and
situations. Are they going to get into a car with a crazy Uber person?
Oh yeah.
Or that's a situation that kind of rolls out on its own. Whereas when I would drive, I guess those situations, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah.
But you're very zen. You seem very, I wish I had the majority of your zen. No wonder she's going into mindfulness training. I'd be like, what? No, I can't.
I have to sit where for how long?
I have to sit in this. I mean, listen, but I think it's good that you took charge of, and I think we all are in our own way. I mean, I say a lot of the time, take charge of your own health. I mean, I decided to take gluten out and see what happened. You became mindful.
I'm doing the herbs.
Herbs,
But I like the idea of exercising. Because I ride my bike to work and stuff like that. It's a little bit of exercise, nothing that's like what you're doing. But I think to kick it up a notch too would be helpful. So I think getting out and moving your bodies and doing all those things are good ideas. And if you guys are listening at home and trying these things out, just definitely share and see if you change it up a bit, if it makes a difference in your day to day. And we'll just use ourselves as some sort of, field experiment and see what works. I think, like Lisa said, we're all different, but we're all the same. So,
yeah. I mean, I think, we've got probably about 5 more minutes left. I think at the age that we're in, I think so many of us have tried so many different things along the line.
Right.
We all know how to lose weight.
Right.
And gain it back.
Right.
And we know that, we all know how to white knuckle it through, yoga when it doesn't mean anything.
Right. Yep.
Or go to Zumba, where we all bought the 35 classes for the price of 10. We all have done that. Not that Zumba's a bad thing. I enjoyed it.
No, but I got a lot of gym memberships along the way.
A lot of gym memberships. A lot of us, did the gym memberships and, it's only $14.99 a month. Okay. And then we never saw it. And, and then, but I think now, because this is totally honest, I think some days when you're in the throes of the peri and the meno, I think you feel so shitty.
Right.
That I think you want to feel good. Because I think we're also smart enough that we've also found the things that make us feel really good. And we felt really good. I feel really good after a yoga class. I feel really good after exercise.
You're right.
I feel really good when I go to the beach.
It's just remembering that and then replacing that feeling of feeling good with when you're not feeling good, how to get back to that feeling good space. And if you can do that just by being mindful, then just that to me is a gift. And to know that I can return to that mindfulness just in my own head.
Exactly. I think whoa. Hello. I was thinking about you were talking about being sick and you were being mindful when you were sick though, and so it's
totally and
just being present with that sickness And a lot, like I think it's when we try to like not be mindful and try to like fix things all the time.
Fix and force something
and so
that's not going to...
We all have tools.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, but for so many years, and I think a lot of women, I can identify with this, especially when my kids were small, there was no time to be sick. Like we all were sick.
Oh, yeah.
We all, like I muddled through. I don't even know some of the stuff that I dealt with when they were small. But now that they are, upright and able to dress themselves and get on the bus and all that stuff, I had to take the time. My husband's like, just rest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a gift, I think.
I think it's a gift, but I think we forget. I think what's hard for me is to become mindful when I'm in a stressful situation at the moment, especially if somebody's yelling at me.
Right.
Talking about like if I'm in a work situation and Sue's yelling at me. I'm kidding, she doesn't do that. And now she doesn't know. I'm saying no. What I'm saying is, but like
just taking a time out in that moment.
In that moment,
and be like, wait a minute,
stuff going around. Yeah.
Somebody told me to be calm right now. Hold on, my head's telling me something. Yeah, so just. Yeah, I'm going to try it. I'm going to apply that more than I have been. I think that's...
I think it really...
To just simplify it.
With emotions especially, and that's why they're trying to we're bringing it into the schools.
Yeah.
So that kids can recognize, so that you can respond instead of react. And that's what I think going through menopause and all these hormones. We can stop, and then we can, be present. And instead of like reacting, we respond. Right?
But you choose how you want to respond.
Yeah.
Because reaction, I think, sometimes is just too fast.
Yeah. Like you're angry, you're going to yell, or if someone's like, if Sue's yelling
I'm going to cry.
Right? No, what I can say about Sue and I, like what I love about our working situation is that there's a mutual respect. And I think what I like about working with women this age is that we've sort of gone through the competition and it's like, well, what do you have to offer? Oh, I love that. Okay, let's do this. Or what do you have, okay, let's do this. Like, I'm not on a constant wheel of competition anymore with women. I mean, I'm just not.
Right, yeah.
This is what I am.
Right. Here I am.
I'm not perfect, and I think as women, we need to support one another and see what each person, now there are the women out there and men, that
are still running competitive.
Running competitively and are going to throw you under the bus at any moment. Mm-hmm. I get that. Mm-hmm. We are minutes away from Hollywood. No, I'm kidding. But I do find I like that you're bringing it in the schools because I feel unfortunately in the environment that we're in, and not to get too political, I feel like mindfulness needs to be in the schools because they have so much that they are given.
Yeah.
And so much going on in our lives that these kids have to become almost adults so quickly that I find. Do you find that you're a better teacher now that you do the mindfulness?
Yeah, when I'm consistent with my practicing, it shows up in the classroom because I appear more authentic in what I'm doing.
Right.
If I'm just like kind of muddling through it and stuff, I think it shows up and I can see that my students know that I'm kind of like,
halfway there.
Getting through it. Yeah. So like it's really important for me just to keep my practice strong so that I become more authentic in what I'm doing.
Well, and they can tell that, and then that also gives you some trust. They'll trust you more, and I think teachers are doing God's work anyway or universe or whoever's up there.
Yeah.
Don't want to,
the world's work.
The world's work. I mean, I just feel that we all need to be mindful, and I think especially with our bodies changing. I don't ever remember, and I wanted to bring this up real quick. I don't remember my body changing this much even when I got my period.
Oh, no.
Right.
My period was weird and it was uncomfortable, and I read Are You There, God? It's Me, Margaret several times.
Right.
I did, and my mother handed me and go.
And then what happens?
And we all sort of trudged through it together. But now I feel like our symptoms are all over the place, that we could talk to one person who's having this and then another person.
Yeah, it's shocking how different they are.
And then this person's going through this. And so I think if we can sort of shed light on what's helping people and making people just bring it all in and have sort of a respect for the mind and the body, I think mindfulness really
and take the time to simplify it and not dramatize it, And
then,
so once you get your training, what are you going to do with that training?
So I'm hoping to continue bringing it into the schools.
Love it.
Because I think really if kids are learning in an elementary school, preschool, bringing it through, then they hit puberty.
Yeah.
Right. And they're like, whoa, what's going on here? And they can just recognize and instead of not knowing where all these emotions are coming from, you're like,
Right.
They actually can recognize them and it'll be better relationships, and bullying and all that stuff can probably go on the wayside a little bit more. But I want to keep, bringing it into the schools, maybe like more to the districts.
Yep.
And like do training.
Nice.
But I really enjoy working with the kids, so I really want to continue to keep
Yeah,
working with
I think
kids.
they need it.
Well, they do, because I think it's a lot for them to know what's going on, and I think, for me anyway, who has a teenage daughter, I think I'm doing a great job, but then it becomes like a horrible after-school special.
Right.
Where I'm like, when I was your age, and I was back in the 80s.
Yeah, it's so hard to relate, right?
And then she looks at me like, no, we're not having this conversation. I'm like, no,
Yeah.
let's talk, and, I read Are You There? God, is it me, Margaret? And then I give her the book. And then she goes,
Yeah.
I think they don't, I think they identify, but they also just don't want to talk about it.
Yeah.
So the fact that you're like, God bless you, to teach high school, there's a lot going on,
Yep, that's for sure.
But when you tap into it and you see that I love when I'm driving the car, this is a place that you get to watch this too. I'm driving the car and I have my daughter and her girlfriends in the back, and they're talking and they're
Yep.
so happy.
It's the best time.
And
Yep.
I love giving the rides.
Yeah.
And they're talking, and they're all like talking with them, and oh no, you're so great, and no, you're wonderful, and I love you, and like those are my favorite moments, and I see them all supporting each other through this time. I
Nice.
feel like
Yep.
we're kind of in that now too.
Well, I need to drive you guys around so we can talk. We can talk about each other in the back seat.
I love you, Sue, in the front.
So if people want to talk to you more about this, where can they get you? Do you have like a social media or?
Wow, no, I haven't been on social media ever.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you?
They can get a message through me to maybe smoke signal or I don't
You're the agent. Well, no, this is great. I mean, if you're interested, and also if you're a school district out there, right?
Yeah.
This is what's happening in Burbank.
Yeah.
Mindful Schools is the organization through San Francisco, and they have a program. When I was at my retreat, there was people there from Little Elephant, Thailand. There was a man that was in his 80s from the Philippines.
Oh, wow.
All these educators, but there's also like moms. Lots of moms were there, and nurses, and people that,
It should be mandatory training. It really
it's really
should.
great.
Yeah.
Well, but we're from Massachusetts. I mean, I always seem to bring up Massachusetts every episode we do.
Yeah. I wonder why.
But I can hear in my head some Massachusetts guys going, "Oh, it's that airy-fairy California stuff."
Well, I brought this into my preschool. When I taught preschool and kindergarten. And I was told, well, we can't call it meditation and you can't call it yoga because people think that's a religion. So we would just do breathing and stretching, which was fine, but it really helped the little kids balance. I really felt every morning when we would just sit and breathe before starting anything that on their little mats, that someone would get a little itchy and scratchy and stuff, but it helped balance the day. And then I had a corner available with poses for them, for kids. And
that's beautiful.
Yeah, but it did happen where the administrator said to me, like, we're not calling this yoga, we're not calling this meditation.
They're still like, some of the people in my cohort, mostly like on the East Coast, they've been kind of dealing with that, like admin and like other people in the school district kind of coming up to them and questioning them a little bit more. And I thought, I had so many open doors and open windows at my school. I was like, this is breezy. My admin was like, you can lead the staff meetings.
I love it.
Nice.
It was great. And then my one friend was like, I don't feel comfortable with this. And I feel like you're trying to empty my mind. I need to be present because scripture says you need to be present.
Wow,
right?
wow.
Which is fine. And I said, thank you so much for sharing with me because that's how I learn. Right?
Yeah.
Is by listening to what other people have to say and question. And so I welcomed it. And, it's not like I'm trying to change people's minds or anything, but you can be present in prayer.
You be present in prayer. You be present if you're faith-based. I mean, listen, what I love about California is it's opened up to alternative ways to deal with stuff. And I feel like every school system, no matter where it is, would benefit from being mindful in the classroom as a teacher, a student, Because, our kids are our most precious commodity. And
they're the future.
They're the future, and however we get them to where they need to be, I truly believe in it. So I'm glad that. So it's called Mindful. What is it? Mindful Schools?
The school again.
Mindful Schools, and again, like you said, children are really important. So there is going to be a tax. What is it called in Burbank here?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So
wow,
bringing money to the schools.
Good.
So yes, vote yes.
Yeah.
And but yeah, so it's Mindful Schools, started in San Francisco.
Love it.
And you can just look online, and there's a lot of information.
Cool.
And anybody's welcome.
See, I love it. That's great.
Well, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
so
thanks.
everybody, let's thank our guests.
Thank you, Lisa Jo.
Lisa Jo, you're fantastic. I'm going to be mindful right now, and I'm going to say that was the Menopod video podcast with Mary Kennedy and
Sue Merlino.
And we'll see you soon.